how much work do you have to do when you're playing sort of a character that's on the periphery of like an ensemble like this? Do you end up doing the same work and collaborating with them in the same way that all the folks who are like in the orgy and sort of at the core of this, or are you able to kind of do your own thing? Or do you have to?
Do you mean in terms of do I try to get into character and not hang out with the other people
or something like yeah.
No, I had a great time hanging out with everybody. I joined the group as if I was part of the group that was having the orgy on screen, and then would just be super mean to them when I was filming my bits. But it was really fun. It was we keep saying magical. I mean, that word comes up a lot, but it really was a very special summer because so many strong bonds were made between the cast members. It was a very unique experience. It was great.
Is this the kind of for you? Is this the kind of character that the angrier you get, the funnier it is, or is there a balance that you have to strike between, it crossing over into like an awkward sort of dramatic territory as opposed to just sort of be because I mean I think it really works in the movie.
Oh, thanks.
But
I don't know. There's that danger that if you get too angry, it starts seeming like it isn't real, and this is in this movie. A lot of stuff is played very real. So I just counted on the directors to tell me like if they thought I was going too big or too small, they would help me kind of find the right level. But most of the time, the script kind of explained the context of the anger, and it made kind of sense just how much anger to have. I mean, it was a situation where all your friends are having an orgy, and they won't let you be in this orgy, and that's a psychological that's a tough psychological situation to be in. Like, it starts to drive you crazy. I would think in real life if that happened. My character becomes very frustrated.
Like KFBR 392 kind of
yeah
obsession.
Yes.
What's really interesting about this movie is that it seems to have both a sense of nostalgia and a real sort of honest look at sort of looking back on sort of like turning 30. How well defined were sort of the observations in this movie about sort of like that moment where you stop being like a, sort of questionably responsible adult to the point where you're like, I can't do this because I pulled a toe muscle and that kind of thing. Like, were those things all pretty well seated in the script, or were there any of those that you?
There were definitely the roots of most of that stuff was in the script, but also the cast got together a couple weeks before the filming started, so there was a real camaraderie that came about, and everybody was so bonded that they would just kind of build on the stuff that was already in the script and personalize it, and so a lot of the stuff that comes out in the movie is stuff that is very personal and unique, and born of this bond that was created.
Well, this character seems pretty comparatively, I guess, like straightforward and sort of ordinary, I guess, in comparison to some of the other roles that you've played. Is there sort of an advantage or disadvantage to being able to successfully play sort of like oddballs and weird characters? I mean, does it exclude you from the possibility of finding maybe more roles like this one? I mean, I think you do a great job of being that sort of like having that consternation of being like, what am I like not hip enough to be involved in this or whatever,
Well, thank you. I love playing oddball characters. I love weirdos. I love things where I get to wear a big thick mustache. But I it's not the only thing I can do, and it's not the only thing I enjoy. I loved that this was a slightly different character, and I'd love to do more stuff like that. That's not just some zany, crazy, over-the-top person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, are you, like, I guess, either content, or do you feel like you're finding enough challenges, like working sort of in comedy, or, you know, do you have this deep rooted desire to be a serious dramatic actor that has yet to be realized because, you know, people are too familiar with you as these sort of comedic characters?
Well, no, I don't have a deep yearning to you know, to do dramas. I certainly would do a drama if it came up and felt like a really awesome role that I thought I could do. But you know, I love doing comedy so much, and that's definitely where you know, where my heart lies. So I don't know. I don't really think in terms of you know, I'm not concerned about oh, I gotta get a drama in there. But if a drama came around that was a really fun script that somehow would take a chance on me, yeah, I would definitely do it.
Well, how strategic do you have to be about sort of like what you pick, and then how formalized at this point is sort of the process of figuring out? I mean, you know, obviously, like, I'm a huge fan of MacGruber.
I love your KFBR 392 reference.
we tweet this all the time, my friends and I. So, which makes us all seem crazy. But you know, how formal is the process of figuring out where those lines are now for you between sort of like going over the top, being realistic? I mean, have you got it down pretty well?
Do you mean am I, as I'm searching for the next thing I'm going to do? Is it? Oh, I can't be super crazy because I just did that in the last one. Is that what you're saying?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you never want to get pegged as a one-trick pony, but you know, if it is a fun script and it's similar to something I just did, if it seems like it would be fun to do and it's with a fun group of people that I trust and I think it's going to turn out well, I would absolutely do it. Mm-hmm. You know, even if it was something similar to something I had already done. I mean, you know, ideally you're switching it around and doing new things that are challenging, but you know, it's you don't always have the luxury of choosing between a huge variety of characters. You know, I am not, you know, a Johnny Depp out there who gets offered everything. You know, I'm yeah, I would love to have that problem of trying to figure out what to do next, but yeah.
Well, if I may just ask,
does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I may just ask one more because I think they're wrapping me.
Sure.
When he played Randy Aziz Ansari, like, had this bit where he talked about how, like, if he spun around like 6 times, it was like 20% funnier than if he spun around 5 times or something like that. And as much as that's obviously meant to be a joke, how specific have you been able to sort of refine knowing what is funny and what's like the funnier version of something? I mean, is it a lot of trial and error, or you know, through your experience now, do you know, like, well, if I do this a certain way, or I, you know, do something with this in a certain way, it'll be funnier than if not? Or
it's always just an educated guess. You never know. Like, you can be so sure of something and you find out after that, oh, I guess I was wrong. Like, you just never know what's going to be funny. You know, after you've done it for a while, you are able to have a more educated guess, but it's always still just going to be a guess. But with that, I would always say err on the side of longer. I'm a big repetition person, so I like kind of the tension and uncomfortable feeling of long pauses and hitting something over the head way more times than you need to.
Gotcha.
So when he would say, if I turned around 6 times, I would, you know, maybe, you know, think, like, maybe just in case I'll turn around 15 times. I don't know. He's fantastic. Oh my God, he's so funny.
Yeah.
So maybe 6 times is right. He's probably right with 6 times, but I was just like, I don't know about 6, so I'm going to go 15 just in case.